What am I going to do now, all alone? My childhood friend has been a shut-in since middle school, being called a fat girl. Her parents died in an accident, and I was finally able to reunite with her on the day of the funeral, leaving her all alone. There were no adults willing to lend a helping hand to her. My family runs a small bakery, and although we are by no means wealthy, I couldn't just leave her alone, so I consulted my mother, who immediately told me to come work for her. Little did I know that a month later, this action would drastically change the fate of both me and my childhood friend. My name is Kagi Yuto. I am a second-year high school student. My mother, Kagi, is the only son of the Kagi bakery run by Na. My father passed away when I was in elementary school. And now I am at the funeral home. The scent of white chrysanthemums tightens my chest and makes my throat feel like it is closing. I take a deep breath at the entrance and join the line of people waiting for me. My childhood friend, Sammy, is a friend from elementary school, a bright and cheerful girl with a bright smile, but she also suffers from a type of long-term illness. It was 3 days ago that I heard the news that her parents had died in an accident. When I put the evidence aside, everyone dressed in black imitation clothes was sitting in the seats in front of the group. They kept their heads down and didn't look at each other. I hadn't seen her face since middle school, but I recognized her figure right away. I had known in middle school that she had become more muscular than she was in elementary school, and she was even chubbier now, but what bothered me most wasn't the change in her figure, but the look of despair on her face, as if she had abandoned all emotion. Even after the ceremony was over, everyone didn't move from the last word. I couldn't say anything or leave because of their expressions of despair, so I sat down on the bridge in the venue and watched the situation for a while. As the people around me began to leave little by little, I turned my attention away and headed towards her. All they could finally say was her name. "Are you okay?" I couldn't put it into words because it felt so different from the darkness. Everyone raised their faces slightly. There were clear traces of tears in their eyes. What am I going to do now, all alone? The voice was so quiet that no one else could hear it. But it reached my ears clearly. Everyone's fingers were trembling as they clutched their sleeves while keeping their eyes downcast. Where are they all now? Until just now, they were at my mother's cousin's house. But today, they told me to go to my uncle's house. And my uncle's house also said to look for someone else by tomorrow. My eyes widened and I gasped involuntarily. I couldn't even stay calm until the funeral. My relatives. I know they all have their own circumstances. But I'm just in the way. She probably tried to smile, but her lips trembled slightly and she wouldn't laugh. I could hear her from sitting in the corner of the room. She whispered, "I wonder how long you'll stay here." Even though my father and mother were gone, I couldn't continue living alone because I had no choice but to live there. Her loneliness seeped through the words. I wanted to say something, so I opened my mouth, but the atmosphere wasn't one where I could say anything lightly. It had been like this since middle school. Well, back then, it was getting harder for me to go to school, my body was getting heavier and heavier, and it was hard to move and talk to people, but I knew everyone thought it was because I was fat. I couldn't say anything. Everyone just looked up a little and continued with their eyes looking into the distance. Whenever I said something jokingly, the boys would laugh and say things like, "The atmosphere becomes heavy when you talk," and they would say a lot of mean things to me. I felt a ripple in my chest. I knew what had caused her to stop coming to school, but there was something else that had been eating away at her heart for a long time. It had been piling up for a long time, and that day I thought, I can't do this anymore. She became afraid to go to class and couldn't even leave the house. The only place she felt safe was inside her house. But now that house and her family are gone. Everyone who wanted to say something shook a little. Their expressions were so complicated that even they themselves couldn't tell if they were crying or angry. I just stood there, unable to say anything, thinking back to what had caused her to stop going to school. The atmosphere in the classroom felt rough. It's lunchtime, but a particularly harsh voice can be heard from the back of the classroom. Hey, don't you think so too? There's no way anyone would want a guy this fat as their girlfriend. He's a male student with a bad reputation in the Moon class. Everyone sits at their desks with their heads down. Their hands are clenched tightly on their knees, and their shoulders are shaking. You know what? He's about the weight of 2 people, isn't he? If we walk together, I feel like I'll gain weight too. Maki, stop it, you're exaggerating. It's the truth. Why are you all acting all goody too? Come on, if you have a problem, then say something. Everyone just bites their lips in silence, saying nothing. The sound of chairs being pulled echoes, and everyone stands up vigorously. Without even grabbing their bags, they run through the front of the classroom. Oh, he ran away, he ran away. Oh no, I'm seriously crying. What a jerk. Someone shouted for everyone to stop, and everyone rushed out of the classroom door. I wasn't in class at the time because I was helping the homeroom teacher. When I later heard about it from a friend, I regretted it more than I could describe. I was on my way back to class after helping someone. She bumped into my shoulder. "Oh, are you okay?" "Oh, what's wrong with everyone?" Before I could say anything, she ran off without even looking at me. Her back was shaking slightly. I didn't need to see her to know that she was crying. I sensed something unusual in the air and headed to the classroom. The moment I entered, several people's eyes focused on me, and Ma shouted, "It's Karagi." I was too late. If I had come a little earlier, I could have seen something interesting. Quote, I looked around the classroom and saw Kara's seat and several girls' downcast faces. What happened? No, it was just a joke. They were talking about how Saw is fat. She probably knew it herself, so why are you crying over a joke? When I came to, my fist was locked with Mitsuki. The class froze. What the hell are you doing? How do you think everyone else is feeling here? Don't mess with me. Ma grabbed me and we got into a scuffle. Everyone else rushed in, but far from cooling down, my head was boiling over. A teacher rushed over and separated Ma and me. I tried to explain the situation, but the teacher said we could talk later and took Maki to the nurse's office. That afternoon, I went to everyone's house, but the front door wouldn't open even after I rang the ring. I thought I heard someone's presence behind the closed window, but they didn't look at me. It wasn't long after that everyone stopped coming to school. It started when the homeroom teacher said in the morning that she would be absent for a while because she wasn't feeling well, and I never saw anyone again. I was just worried, so I passed by her house many times. But at first, the front door remained closed the whole time, but after a few weeks had passed, I pressed the intercom and after a short while, I heard faint footsteps from inside. Then, the small peephole in the door opened for just a moment. Yuto. Yeah, long time no see. That day, I just talked to her through the door. About the weather, about school, about the bakery. I couldn't meet her in person, but it was enough to just talk to her. After that, I started going to her house a few times a month. We exchanged all our words through the door. Fortunately, she had always been a good student, and it seemed that she didn't fall behind in her studies even with self-study. And on the day of her junior high school graduation ceremony, her name was called out, but she didn't come in person. But that spring, she had successfully enrolled in the same high school as me. But it was really helpful that she could take classes remotely. But I wished she could have been able to go to school properly, but even in high school, she didn't go and took classes remotely from home. I would visit her house after school, get bread through her parents, show her my class notes, and solve the parts one didn't understand together through the door. And her parents were warm people who never forced her to do anything she couldn't do, and watched over her as she grew up. As I thought about this, the voices of her relatives who were at the venue suddenly caught my ear. They probably didn't realize she was here. It would be great if she would just become independent. Well, she probably wouldn't be able to work in that condition, and she wasn't even going to school. The voices and footsteps faded away. She laughed weakly. I'm the one causing trouble. I know. I didn't know what to say. After that, my uncle came to pick her up, and I left the venue with an indescribable feeling. Every time I remember what everyone said, my chest churns. I couldn't forget the trembling voices that asked what she would do on her own from now on. I couldn't just leave her alone. That night, I stood in front of my mother who had finished her work at the bakery and said with determination, "Mom, I have something to talk to you about." "What? You look so serious." Quote. My mother turned around while washing her flour-stained hands. "About you all? Can you stay with us for a while?" Quote. My mother's eyes widened for a moment. But the next moment, her expression returned to its usual gentle one. "Can I ask why?" "Yes. Nina is currently staying at a relative's house. Even during today's funeral, she said she didn't know where to go. That she had nowhere to go." "Oh, that's right. She asked if I liked her because she thought none of his relatives would hear. Like, she wouldn't be able to work with a body like that. None of them wanted to get into that shape. They should know that much." As she spoke, her chest ached. Everyone's downcast faces, their eyes trying to hold back tears. There was silence for a while. My mother quietly closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and said in a calm voice, "I understand. Even if it's not family, we can definitely help children in need." One of our part-time workers just quit, so I was thinking of putting out a call, but if Nina Chan can help out even a little, please let her know. Live-in, meals included. Of course, remote classes are a priority. Surprise and gratitude welled up inside me all at once. Thank you, Mom. Really. The next day, I went to everyone's house. It was because I had said I would go home to pack my things. I pushed the spare wheel, and a few seconds later the door opened quietly, and everyone peeked out. Yuto, can I talk to you for a moment? As I sat on the sofa in the living room, everyone stared at me anxiously. I talked to Mom yesterday. She said that everyone had nowhere to go. So she said that it would be okay for me to come to her house. She said that I would be busy with bread and that if I wanted to, I could help out. I would be living there and getting meals included. Of course, I could prioritize my classes. To your house, Yuto? Yeah. Of course, I wouldn't force you to. But it would be much better than staying at a relative's house. Tears welled up in everyone's eyes before I could finish speaking. Is that so? Isn't that a bother? It's not a bother. In fact, I'd rather ask you to do it. Hina clenched her teeth and looked down. Her shoulders shook slightly. Yuto, I thought I would never need to rely on a private person again. It was hard to even see each other because I was always told I was a nuisance, but now I felt a little glad to be alive. When I said that, everyone looked up and tears filled their eyes. After that, I packed my things and took them home. My mother contacted their current guardian, their uncle, and explained the situation, and everyone agreed on the spot. If you say so, I'll leave it to you. To be honest, we were having trouble at home too. I feel bad for this child, but it's a relief that we have children of our own. I didn't miss the fact that everyone looked hurt again at those words. My mother went with us to the automobile counseling center to seek advice, and they went through the formal procedures. Since there was a certain amount of money left in the savings account by everyone's parents, it was agreed that we would use that for the time being to cover our living expenses. The night everyone came to our house. Welcome again, everyone. Welcome to Karaki Bakery. Everyone took the aprons that my mother handed them and said yes in a small voice. There was a faint hope in their voices. The morning after everyone moved into our home, my mother and I were in the kitchen getting ready before the sun even rose. I wonder if Mina is awake. I told her she could still sleep, but she might already be awake. As I said this, I peered into the living room and saw Mina sitting in the corner of the kitchen, her back hunched. Good morning, Mina. Good morning. It's early in the morning, isn't it? You're making bread. Oh, we have to get the bread baked in time for the rotation. I'll take a look while I'm here. If you'd like, I'd really appreciate it if you could help out a little. Right now, you get the chance to taste some freshly baked rolls. Mina looked surprised, then nodded hesitantly. And so Mina's training as a baker began. At first, mixing, kneading, and rolling everything were all difficult. Especially when kneading the dough, it would stick to my hands and I wouldn't be able to get it off, or conversely, I would use too much pressure and the dough would get squished. Huh? I messed up again. I've baked cookies before, but pandas are completely different. It's okay. Everyone is like that at first. I used to have dough that I kneaded all sticking to my hands and looked like clay. It brings back memories. When I told them back then, they would turn it over and cry. Stop it, Mom. Everyone chuckled. When I heard that small laugh, I felt something inside me relax. From then on, everyone would show up in the kitchen every morning. Even if they failed, they wouldn't give up and would try again. Mom and I taught them as carefully as we could. When you roll it, imagine it like a rice ball in your hand. Okay. Try it again. Is that it? Yeah, good, good. The timing of baking is also crucial. It smells the best just before it burns. That's too difficult. Everyone gradually improved while laughing. One day, about a month later, Mom suddenly had an idea and said, "Let's try baking tomorrow's butter rolls with the dough that Mina-chan made." Hey, but mine is good. Let's try it once. I'm sure it will be delicious. The next day, there was a small sign in the storefront written in my mother's handwriting. Today's butter rolls are made with dough that Mina-chan, who is currently in training, worked hard to knead. Please try it. Mina's face turned bright red when she saw the sign. After the rotation, when the first person picked up the bread, we were watching from the kitchen. We watched intently as she ate it in the eat-in space. Wow, this is delicious. It's soft and has a good flavor. The usual is good, but I think I might like this one too. Everyone gasped at those words. You did it. You really got it. There were words that made her expression softer. It was like a small light was shining deep inside her face. And the attitude of everyone working in the kitchen grew stronger day by day. Their movements were still clumsy, but there was a definite strength in their hands. While watching on duty on Saturday afternoon, I suddenly remembered my high school classmates. This high school has a lot of students who have come up from junior high school. There were quite a few people who actually cared about everyone. I took out my phone and opened the group chat. It was a place where I mainly had silly conversations with my close friends in class. Some of the members were my middle school classmates. Hey, wait a minute. My messages were marked as read one after another, and I got replies from several people right away. What's up? It's rare for you to send me a message in a group. I have something I want to ask you. Do you remember Sano? There was a brief pause, but Tomi replied right away. Of course I remember. We used to go to the library together in middle school. Actually, we're still in the same high school, right? We're both in the remote group, so I don't see her face though. Yeah. She's actually helping out at my bakery right now. Seriously. But I think she's been absent from school or unable to go outside since middle school. After a lot of things happened, I'm taking care of her now. If you don't mind, could you reach out to her on social media or something? Even if it's not directly, just by leaving a comment or something. I understand that it would be great if she could feel that someone remembers her, even if it's just a little bit. I'll try to contact you. I'm sure you're still following me. I'll go to the bakery too. I'll stop by when I have time. Thanks. Just don't push yourself too hard. That Saturday, the door to the store opened just before noon. Hello. I was greeting everyone, but when I looked over, there was Tomi in her school uniform. There was another person next to her. A girl who went to a different high school but was in the same class as me in middle school. Thanks for taking the time to come. Oh, everyone's in the back. Okay. I'll try not to push you too hard. The two of them casually called out to everyone while choosing bread. Hey everyone, long time no see. You really do look good in a bakery. Do you remember the sweets we all called pan? Huh? Oh, long time no see. Sweets. The cookies you baked in middle school were really delicious. We all said you'd be good at a confectionery shop or a bakery. And you're right. Everyone's eyes widened in surprise, but then their expressions gradually relaxed. That happened. They remembered me. I had almost forgotten about it. From that day on, notifications gradually increased on everyone's smartphones. Yuto-kun. A girl called out to me in a small voice. Did Tomi-chan and the others come to the shop? Did Yuto-kun ask you to? Well, just a little bit. Everyone looked down and was silent for a while. Thank you. I was happy. I was really happy. Those words made me smile naturally. And then, a few days later, they came. The doorbell rang, and this time, Taya and the other boys came in. Oh, welcome. I heard the anpan here is delicious. I'll review it later, so be responsible for the taste. When Mina heard that, her expression showed a mixture of surprise, embarrassment, and a little joy. Oh, you look better now. I'll seriously recommend it to my little sister. Girls who can make bread are cool. Mina's cheeks turned slightly red at those casual words. My chest feels a little rough. No, I have to endure it here. How dare you be jealous when I ordered it myself? And little by little, a new wind began to blow at the bakery after school. A handwritten note saying, "The bread was delicious," was placed on the coffee coaster in the eat-in area. It certainly reached her heart. That day, everyone was rolling the dough for butter rolls in a corner of the kitchen. They were gradually getting used to the work, and their movements were much smoother than before. I watched her out of the corner of my eye as I bagged the bread at the cash register in front of the store. This is the bread that she made. I bought it the other day too, and it was delicious. That's right. Mina-chan is working hard. Mina noticed the voice praising her, and she looked down as if she was embarrassed, but then the corners of her mouth gently relaxed. A warm moment passed like that. Until it arrived. The sound of the store door opening was accompanied by a low, nasal laugh. Oh, so this is the bakery I've been talking about. The moment they heard the voice, everyone's hands stopped. The fingertips floating on the dough were trembling slightly. When I turned around, Matsu was standing there. It was the same Naga who had insulted everyone in the classroom in middle school and forced them to skip school. He still looked calm and composed, showing no remorse. What do you think? What's wrong? Don't make such a scary face. I just came to say hello to an old classmate. Look, they're over there. In front of my eyes were everyone. Standing there frozen in their aprons. Huh, you work at a bakery. You don't even come to school. You need bread here every day? No wonder your body shape hasn't changed. The air in the kitchen froze at those words. You're still as plump as ever. If you work at a bakery, don't you end up eating even the amount you serve to the customers? At that moment, I dropped the shopping bag. My fists clenched on their own. What did you just say? You heard me, didn't you? Besides, it's true. It's seriously embarrassing to go out like that. Shut up. The store fell silent for a moment at the sound of my neighbor's voice. The customers looked at me in surprise. They're all seriously ill engineers. They've been taken to the hospital for seizures many times since they were little. They've been taking steroids all the time, and the side effects have made them gain weight easily. But you have no idea how tough that is. Do you know how hard it is when you can't breathe after just a short run? It's the medicine's fault. That's not an excuse. Don't mess with me. You'll never realize how much your one word back then hurt everyone. Everyone in the back of the kitchen, who had been looking down, raised their heads slightly. Tears welled up in their eyes. A toddler. The mother called out to them in a soft but sharp voice. This is not a place to laugh at someone. I don't want you to buy our bread. Please leave. One of the customers spoke quietly. If you've listened to them so far, they've been saying nothing but terrible things. The side effects of the medicine are that it makes you gain weight easily. I know because my brother is like that. Another customer followed. I've been really looking forward to that guy's bread. Who do you think you are? What the heck? I can just go home. Don't ever come to this store again. He stood there in silence for a while, then took a swipe and turned his back. Who would eat bread from a store like this? Ellipsis. That's right, he spat those words out and opened the door and left. A heavy atmosphere hung in the air for a while in the space he left behind. Are you okay, Mina-chan? Mina nodded slightly. Yes. I'm sorry for worrying you. But I was happy. Huh? Yuto-kun protected me like that. I tilted my head a little, looking a little embarrassed. Oh, of course. I like it when everyone is smiling. Everyone's cheeks quietly turned red. She pressed her lips tightly together, trying to hold back tears. Thank you. Her small voice warmly penetrated my heart. After Mitsuki left, everyone worked hard at the store. When the store closed in the evening, she spoke up. Quote, Yuto-kun, why were you so angry with me during the day? Everyone's voices were shaking a little, probably from nervousness. I took a slow breath and lowered my eyes. Ah, well, it's probably Dad's fault. Dad. I nodded. I glanced at the photo of my father and mother hanging on the wall of the kitchen. Dad used to tell me this a lot when I was little. Quote, if you see someone in trouble, lend a hand. I remember the first time I questioned the words my father had told me over and over again. I had just started elementary school that day. It was a spring holiday, and my family went to a department store in town. I happened to get separated from my parents when I saw a cover. The ceiling was high, and the faces of the people who had come to life were all unfamiliar to me. Dad, Mom. Tears welled up in my eyes. But I was too embarrassed to cry. I tried to talk to someone in the crowd, but the adults were too busy to make eye contact. I tried to stop a stranger by tugging on her sleeve, but she just said, "Oh, I'm sorry," and left. No one helped me. Finally, a store clerk noticed me and took me to the Lost and Found Center. A few minutes later, I cried with relief when I was reunited with my parents. That night, after taking a bath at home, I asked my father and mother, "Dad, no one helped me when I got lost." Quote, really? That must have been scary. I was in trouble, but no one helped me. Why does Dad always tell me to help people in trouble? My father was silent for a moment, then made eye contact with my mother. Then he crouched down to my eye level and gently patted my head. Have you ever heard the saying, kindness is not for the benefit of others? What is that? It means that when you are kind to someone, it may seem like you are doing them a favor, but in reality, it ends up benefiting you. Why does it feel good when you help someone? When you help someone, that person feels kind. That feeling gives them the strength to help someone else. Maybe someone else will come and help you when you're in trouble. I listened silently. But you know, if no one tries to help anyone, kindness will disappear from this world. So I told him to be the first one. I wanted him to convey his kindness to someone in trouble. Those words stayed in my heart. Yuto's father was a wonderful person. I don't think I ever talked to him much. I nodded quietly. My father spent more time in the kitchen as a baker than he did in customer service. I probably didn't fully understand what my father was saying that day. But when I saw everyone suffering, I finally understood. I think I wanted to help not only everyone, but also myself that day. Everyone had tears in their eyes. Thank you. I'm glad you were there, Yuto. Well, it's partly because of my father's influence that all of our bread is sold at a price that's just below cost. He wanted people to fill their stomachs with bread. He wanted it to be cheap and delicious, regardless of whether they had money or not. It's nice, but it must be pretty tough for the seller. Yeah, to be honest, there were times when it was tough. Even though the cost of ingredients went up, we never raised the prices, so I think Mom must be struggling. But I think the reason she hasn't quit is probably because Dad's feelings are still alive in this store. Mina was silent for a while. So that's the kind of store I'm allowed to work in. Yeah. Mom is really helped out by Mina helping out. Then Mina gripped the bridge of her apron tightly. I want to get better. So that I can say I'm working properly. Of course, I can't neglect my studies since I'm a student, but I want to be able to proudly say that I'm a member of the Kagi family, not just a member of the family. Mino. Since then, her attitude has become even more serious. I think I'll try publishing articles a little shorter today. It's humid, so if I do the same thing as before, it might get too long. Mina-chan has become a fine craftsman. Everyone standing in the kitchen has much straighter posture than before. Their expressions are brighter, and they're definitely smiling more often. Thank you, Mina. Huh? What? Because you're protecting this bakery together. Everyone smiled a little shyly. Thank you for giving me a place to belong. As each season passed, a visible change began to appear in everyone's expressions. Before I knew it, her voice had become a common sound in the kitchen. Even if she made a mistake, she would quickly switch gears, and she would often laugh with me and my mother while working. Little by little, everyone's taste took shape through trial and error, from how the bread should rise to how it should be shaped, to the amount of ingredients. One evening, she suddenly confided in me in a low voice. Quote, "Yu-kun, did you go to the hospital today?" "Yes." "At your last checkup, the doctor recommended a new medication, and recently, he gave me a full-speed medicine that wasn't a steroid, so I went to check on the progress." "Really? Did you hear that?" Everyone nodded with shining eyes. "Yes. Since I started taking it, my seizures have decreased, and my shortness of breath has gotten much better." I feel like my body is a little lighter, and maybe this is because she's seeing me. That's amazing. Yeah. I think I'll be a little more confident in my body. Her movements have clearly changed since then. She moves briskly in the kitchen, she also goes out with us on deliveries, and she can act confidently in front of customers. While preparing in the morning, I suddenly noticed. Hey, Nina, you've lost a little weight. No. You really have lost a little weight. She smiles shyly, flushing her cheeks. Maybe the side effects of the medicine have lessened. Also, she's been moving around a lot lately, and making bread uses up a lot of energy. Nina-chan, your complexion has improved, and your skin is looking better. Really? I'm so happy. Nina smiled honestly at her mother's words. I'm sure I wouldn't have seen this smile in her before. And then, during spring break just before she became a third-year student. The moment she took off her apron on the cover, I couldn't help but stare. Her face was clearer and her contours were clearer than before, and her posture had improved. Her entire body was becoming more balanced, and her natural beauty was finally beginning to show. Wow, everyone, you look like a different person. Are you complimenting me? Oh, of course I mean that in a good way. Thank you. But there's still a long way to go. It's an afternoon with the soft spring sunshine. The shelves by the shop window are lined with the bread that everyone baked today. I heard there's a girl who looks like a model in the bread here. Is that her? Yeah, she's been a hot topic on social media lately. They say she's so cute. The people saying this while pointing their smartphones at her are local high school students. Some of the customers have even come from far away. And it's no wonder. Since spring break started, everyone has changed so much. Their expressions are bright and their skin is so radiant that there's hardly any trace of their former selves. It's not just their appearance, but more than anything, the confidence and kindness that overflows from within that attracts people. But the rumors have reached the ears of even the most unexpected people. The moment the doorbell rang, I looked up as if by conditioned reflex. There stood Mitsuki Yoko. Well, her expression was completely different from before. She had a smirk on her face, like she was plotting something. It's been a while. Everyone at the cash register noticed her voice and their faces turned scared. But right now, she didn't back down at all. Welcome. Man, you've been amazing lately. I was honestly surprised when I heard you've been working here ever since. You've really changed your demeanor. You've lost weight and your face is cute. The way she spoke made it seem like she had forgotten all about the past. Oh, are you free right now? Want to talk outside for a bit? You look free. I'm at work. Come on, don't be so serious. Did you make that fruit sandwich? A girl's sense is what it is. Matsu, what do you want to do? Well, I just wanted to make sure we had a good relationship. Hey, I might have said a little too much before, but that was just a joke, and I really think things are going well now. They say I'm a bit of a foodie, but honestly, I'm not like that at all. The store fell silent for a moment at those words. The customers' eyes were on Mitsuki. They all stared straight at him. So that means it wasn't okay when I was fat? Huh? Well, of course it wasn't okay with that body type. But look, it's okay now. If you don't keep that body type, I'll date you. How condescending is this guy? I reflexively want to punch him, but I endure it, biting my lip. Your words made me unable to go to school. I stayed home all the time and blamed myself. But not now. I want to take care of myself and face someone who sees me properly. For me, it's not about my appearance, but the
person who supports me emotionally, Yuto, is the most important. That's why I won't talk to you anymore. Please. Ha. Hey, why are you acting so arrogant just because you've lost a little weight? Go home already, Maki. Don't get cocky. Just because you're a little popular. This kind of bread will go out of business soon anyway. With those words, Mitsuki left the store. Cursed. When the door closed, silence returned to the store for a moment, but the next moment, someone spoke up. That boy said something terrible to Sa-san. Mina-chan was so cool. She was able to properly respond. Mina gently held her chest. She was shaking a little, but her eyes were soft with tears, but she was firmly looking forward. Are you okay, everyone? Yes. I was able to say it. I was able to say it properly. I was so proud of her that my heart warmed. Before I knew it, I was grabbing everyone's hands and pulling them close. Huh, I can't hold it in anymore. I've always wanted to say it. What? I've liked you all for a long time. Before I changed, and now, too, it felt like time had stopped for a moment. Everyone's eyes opened wide and their cheeks turned red. Really? Yes, really. I was able to come this far because of Yuto-kun. So thank you. I gently hugged her as she was. Whispers leaked from inside the store. Wow, was that a confession? Huh, that's nice. Love blossoming in a bakery, like something out of a shoujo manga. You see, both of them are employees here. I wonder what they're doing leaving the customers alone. For some reason, there's a mother among the wild beasts and horses. The two of us came to our senses and hurriedly returned to our posts, apologizing to the customer. The girl who had been hurt by someone that day is no longer here. Amidst the soft laughter and applause that lingered in the store, a shadow stood still outside the glass door. It was Mitsuki. The man who had supposedly left the store and turned the corner had returned to the front of the store. He glared at the sight of everyone and me standing close together for a while. Quote, HMPH. Get cocky, Mitsuki said in a low, quiet voice, but several people in the store certainly noticed the ominous atmosphere. This bakery is going to go out of business soon anyway. This is the only time we have customers. It'll be too late if they come crying to us then. He spat this out with obvious affection when our eyes met, handed me back the millet, and walked away. His back was somehow wrapped in the image of a man who was still holding on to his feelings. Don't worry about it, Mina. Yeah, I'm fine now. I'm not the kind of person who gets swayed by words like that. She said that with a firm smile. For the next few days, that incident became a special occasion for both the bakery and Momi. The store was still full of customers, smiling and saying how delicious Mina's baked bread was. She had become completely skilled at working in the kitchen. Then one night, after finishing cleaning up after closing, Mina suddenly said, Yuto, I think I'm going to go to school. I'll go regularly from the 3rd grade. Little by little though. I'm not scared of going outside anymore, and more than anything, I feel like I can face it properly now." Those words sounded surprisingly natural. After working at the bakery, talking to people, and spending time with Yuto and Hannah, I finally started to think that I was okay. That's why I couldn't let it end like this. "You're amazing, Mina." I said that from the bottom of my heart. Everyone was looking back at their former selves and trying to choose their future based on that. Strong and straightforward. I'm a little worried. But I want to like myself. Those words are more dazzling than anything. Then I'll support you too. Everything. Your future and dreams. I didn't know at the time that those curse-like words that Ma had uttered were quietly planting the seeds of solidity. The day after the third-year training ceremony, everyone was dressed in their new uniforms and stepped into the classroom for the first time in a while. "Good morning." Several students looked up at the voice. There was no whispering like before, but rather a warm atmosphere of welcoming home. "I'm glad for you, everyone. You made it. Long time no see. Your hair has grown." Smiles filled the classroom. Everyone was a little confused, but they gave soft smiles. But those happy days were suddenly shattered. That evening, someone came into our bakery. "This is Kagi Bakery." We had received several reports at the health center earlier, and it turned out that several people who had eaten bread purchased there had fallen ill, and at that moment, my mother's expression changed. "What, at my house? No way. That can't be." The health center staff rushed in and began inspecting the kitchen. They checked the hygiene management, food storage conditions, and all the cooking utensils. And a few hours later, the shocking results were announced. Norovirus was detected in some parts of the kitchen, especially the cooking area where Saga mainly worked. Why, we disinfected it properly every day. Everyone stood there with blank faces. My sincerity. We can't make a definitive decision yet, but we are considering the possibility that it was transmitted from something she touched while working, from clothing, or from someone else. We will carefully investigate the cause, but for the time being, we will be closed. So while my mother and the staff confirmed what to do next, all I could do was stand by everyone's side, stunned. However, uncertain information had already begun to spread on social media, with headlines stating that a high school girl with food poisoning at Kagi Bakery had been infected. That night, everyone who returned home had their heads down and hadn't even touched their food. I guess I shouldn't have been working there after all. I've caused trouble. Everyone. That's not right. I gently held her hand. I was watching closely. Everyone was laughing and disinfecting their hands more than anyone else, being very careful. It's no one's fault. It can't be your fault. But it's okay. If we can figure out where the infection came from, we can take measures. This is the responsibility of the store, not just one person. So don't blame yourself. He looked me straight in the eyes. Tears welled up in his eyes, but he nodded slightly. There's no guarantee that you won't get infected. It's possible that my mother or I were infected, but we just didn't show any symptoms. But something was wrong. It was too sudden, too deliberate. And what came to mind were Mitsuki's words that day. A bakery like this is going to go out of business soon anyway. I felt something close to certainty. This wasn't a coincidence. A few days after the incident came to light, we were quietly cleaning up inside the closed store. Now what should we do? It's all my fault. I told you, everyone, not to blame yourselves. In the gloomy atmosphere of the tense atmosphere, there was a sudden knock on the front door. Hello, Hannah. Yuto and Mina too. The person who showed up was the manager of a nearby restaurant who was a regular customer at the store. There was something I had been wondering about for a long time. I thought it might be related. Saying this, he handed me a photo of a man wearing black sunglasses and a black mask that was on his smartphone screen, along with a handwritten note. On the day the food poisoning occurred, I happened to be waiting in line next to the cash register. I think that Mitsuki guy was there at the time. He was wearing a hat, a mask, and even sunglasses, so he looked suspicious, but I thought he was spraying something on his apron while he was pouring bread. It only happened for a moment, so I thought I might have mistaken it, but I couldn't help but be curious, so I just took a picture of him. What? No way. We hurriedly checked the footage from the store's security camera. Sure enough, it was the day before the food poisoning occurred. The footage showed a suspicious man wearing a hat, sunglasses, and a mask approaching everyone from behind and quickly spraying something that looked like spray. His face was hidden, but the clothes he was wearing were the same as the ones Mitsuki wore when he arrived. Why didn't they notice? We reported the details to the health center staff, and as a result of further investigation, it was discovered that Matsu had illegally obtained the norovirus test samples that his parents, who work at the health center, were handling in their research department. Don't mess with me, Matsu. What's more, Matsu was the one who reported the information to the health center. When the details came to light, things moved quickly. Mitsuki's parents were immediately dismissed from the health center. They were investigated for giving their son the test samples for research. Mitsuki himself was also expelled from high school, and the family decided to move out of town. The news was reported in the newspapers and on the local news, and the bakery's innocence was officially proven. And the day the suspension was lifted, I wondered if customers would really come back. I opened the shutters with anxiety, but there was a long line, so I came early, thinking I'd be late. Are there any of today's limited edition breads left? Congratulations on the turnover. I've been waiting for a long time to eat Sasan's bread. That's a lie. Look, everyone went. Thank you, Yuto. Thank you so much, everyone. That day, the bakery was always crowded with people from opening to closing. The locals warmly shook our hands when we were suspected and almost afraid to trust them. And so, Kagi Bakery once again became a place that brought smiles to the town. The day after graduating from high school, everyone said with bright faces, I graduated, and from now on I'll be working hard as a full-time employee. She was full of energy, but she overslept significantly today. She must have gotten ready in a hurry, because she still had bedhead. Your salary depends on how well the bread turns out. But before that, promise me you won't oversleep every morning. She hung her head in response to my mother's and my attacks. Quote, I will. At those words, my mother, she, and I all laughed out loud. Today, our bakery is filled with smiles and the smell of freshly baked bread. And I think the future for me and everyone else will be soft and full of the taste of happiness, just like the fluffy bread.